to set the mood. Okay, so hey guys, this is my first episode for this, I don't know, podcast kind of journal entry, but I love to talk about things that go through my head and things that I've like come across recently, or I'm just a person that thinks a lot. And I tried Substack. I don't always want to like write down my thoughts, even though I do that right now. But like writing them down in a journal is like not the same thing for me as like writing them down in like an academic essay kind of thing. For this first episode, I want to talk about this quote that I came across on Pinterest. It is decisions are portals, which might like for some people be like, yeah, what the fuck are you talking about? I know that. I know that too, but it's like such a like good quote, something that just highlights what decisions should be seen as in comparison to what they actually do kind of look like for us in reality. What I mean by that is like everybody feels pressure and fear and like anxiety when having to make a big decision, right? Because you kind of think about all the what ifs and what if it goes wrong? What if this is the wrong decision? What if I choose this right now, then my life will like fall apart or something. But if you see decision as something like that that's gonna ruin your life or possibly ruin your life, it could also be something positive, of course. Or you wouldn't be needing to make a decision, you know. But like everybody feels this pressure. And if we would see decisions as portals, I think it would take off a lot of like pressure of the decision, because you might like feel like it's more of an adventure and just something exciting and new that's gonna happen and that you could potentially choose to happen, um, rather than something that's really negative and that's like stressing you out and giving you anxiety and fear. I just want to preference that, of course, honestly, like the likelihood of decisions that you make throughout life, there's gonna be like 50% of them that are gonna probably have like a negative outcome, or not even negative, because I don't really like to say that decisions have a negative outcome, because I think every decision you make kind of gives you a positive outcome always. Like you always learn something, which is something so positive for me, because life is all about learning stuff and like learning about life, how people work, how relationships work, and how you kind of like manage the work environment and like kind of finding yourself. So I guess there's always something positive about decisions and making decisions and living through your decision and living through those consequences of your decision. Life is just not that simple that every decision is gonna be good and that every decision is gonna end up that way like you imagined it to end up, you know? So, what would change if we would see decisions as portals? We would be more positive towards change. Like, you kind of see yourself as like you see this decision not as like a life-changing decision, but more of like a shift in your dimension. And either way, you're gonna expand your dimensions. So, on the baseline, I just want to say that seeing decisions as portals is just a mindset shift. I'm a firm believer that your mindset shapes your life and how you perceive the world and how you decide to live in it. And you kind of also decide like how your life is gonna go. And I guess key is just romanticizing your life. Even though I know like a lot of people on social media say like don't romanticize your life because you're like not living in reality, and people are kind of like talking things more nicely than they actually are, like romanticizing it too much and not seeing that there may actually be a problem, which I get, but if you don't hurt anybody by romanticizing your life and just having a positive view on your life and like towards those things that are happening to you, like those decisions and experiences that life throws at you, if you romanticize them and kind of always try to see everything in a positive light, I think you as a person will be a happier person and a positive person, and may also be more confident because you're not like down or anything, kind of just living your life the way you want to because you actively like choose to be that way and to romanticize your life each and every day. I want to make an example so you guys understand what I mean when I say big decisions. Going through a portal, not regretting that decision, and choosing to go through that portal even though you have so many doubts, don't even kind of feel like you should do it or that you're capable of like overcoming what's in front of you. So when I was 16, I was thinking about taking a gap year. And after 10th grade in Germany, a lot of people take a gap year and go to the USA, Canada, Australia, England, France, Spain, whatever it might be. But after 10th grade, so I had this longing for the outside world, living outside of my bubble, I guess. Like I had this horizon of like where I live right now, and I was like living a couple of months in China, and a couple of weeks each year I was visiting my family. So this was my horizon, okay? This was my baseline. I was in China or I was in Germany or like in like 1 or 2 weeks in Europe for a couple of times. But that was it. I was never like over the Atlantic, for example, and I was never really living without my family. And I kind of wanted that experience of actually managing life alone because I always knew that I was a really independent person. Since I was a child, I was just really independent and I didn't have problems with being alone or like, playing on my own or being away from my parents or away from home. And I guess that kind of correlates with growing up in an environment where there are not a lot of international kids. So I grew up in a very like white community, in a very German community. I guess there always has been the feeling of not belonging, and that's why I always ask myself the question, do I belong here? And do I fit in to those categories that the other people are presenting to me? Either way, I'm getting off track. I was having doubts. I told my parents I want to do this, like I'm so excited, I really want to do this, and my parents were like, we're gonna do it, we have the resources for it. And then suddenly I had like a host family and I had a place where I was staying and I had like this whole plan, like, and then also like booking the flights and stuff like that. So I had this first, and it was kind of like the pre-experience of like living in a host family and just being away from home for a longer time. I was 3 months away in France, then I went to Canada, and I like the weeks before that I was actually like, I don't know, I was like shitting myself. Like this is already paid for and you cannot back out now. And then I did it. And in the first few months, actually months, I was like, okay, I was like more of an introvert and didn't really talk to a lot of people and just wasn't feeling so confident. And then after like the 3 months or something, I started to open up a lot more, kind of met with people and actually like opened up to a lot of people that I thought were too cool for me because I was just so insecure about myself. And I got so extroverted towards the end of my exchange year, or like my exchange year. It was really like, it was amazing because looking back I was like, okay, you made such a development That's honestly like crazy. And that development, that experience, no one's gonna take it away from you. And once you have that skill of socializing, talking to people in not your native language, in your second language, or like for me, my third language, and like be proficient enough to understand everything they say, and just kind of adapting to that lifestyle and actually living it, was like such an amazing experience that I would honestly want to give everybody in this world. Like, I want everybody to experience that and go through it, because it's something that is so sacred and that has taught me so much. I've met people there that I wouldn't have met if I didn't do this. Obviously, you wouldn't have met them if you didn't do this. But what I want to say with this is, I've met people that understand me like nobody else. That made me realize that there are people out there that you just haven't met yet that understand what you're going through. Those friends that I made there honestly are friends for life, and I will never forget them, because they have changed me, but like we also have changed together as teenagers so much in that time. And we saw each other like open up and kind of bloom. Each and everyone got more confident and more self-aware, and just like everybody has grown up. I see pictures of my friends from the beginning and then from the end, and we all look so different and so much more mature, and I don't know, I guess a little bit wise as well. So this is for me, to round it all up, the perfect example of going through a portal and experiencing and seeing a whole new world, and also a whole new version of yourself. I saw a version of myself that I would have never guessed that there is that version of myself, that I would be capable of being extroverted and actually talking to people that I haven't met yet without them needing to engage actively with me. Like, I am confident enough to engage with them on my own. Also, like learning to say no was also something that I've learned. Like, I don't want to do this, okay, then I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stand for myself, and I'm going to make the decisions that are best for myself right now, because I know what's best for me. And lastly, what I want to talk about is, when you do make a decision and you do decide to go through that portal, don't you ever look back. Don't you ever regret making a decision. Once you start regretting a decision and looking back, you probably will find yourself ending up in a spiral of negative thoughts and what ifs, and my life could be better if I didn't make that decision. Look for the next portal. Look for the change in your life that you can make, shifts you to another universe, to another world that is better for you than the one that you're in right now. But never look back. Always look forward. Look for the better version of yourself and the better version of your life. Look for the opportunities and chances that life throws at you that would make, or possibly would make, your life easier, better, happier, more positive, more accomplished, more enjoyable. Focus on what is in front of you and not as what is behind you, because you cannot change it anyways. Of course, there are decisions that have consequences that you did not expect or that you don't like. Essentially, see them as things that you learn from, like lessons, but I think everybody kind of knows that. But I just want to preference this and highlight it again. And never ever punish yourself for making a decision, because always see it as something that was an opportunity that life gave to you for evolving yourself and optimizing yourself and making yourself a better person and a more wise person. You will always go out as a wise person as long as your morals are right. After a low always comes a high, and then you will realize that it was worth it all along. I want to thank you guys for listening, and I do hope that you enjoyed it. Like talking, like not even talking, like I hope you enjoyed hearing me talk and just yap about this thing. And I want to wish you a beautiful day or a beautiful night, whatever it might be. And we will see each other the next time, which I don't know when it's gonna be. Let this be your sign to just do it. Just go through that fucking portal. Good night.